Welcome to another episode of Holy Homo Hangout Hour,
I hated all of that.
the part of the show
When
where
Carrie
Carrie
comes out.
and Elise come out and sing a silly song. Not really, but kind of.
If you get that reference, we'd probably be friends.
If you get that reference, I hope you're in therapy.
Both can be true.
Yes, both can be true. We can be friends and recommend a great therapist. Today we wanted to talk about we've kind of accidentally come up with a little relationship mini series. So the first one we talked about first queer relationships and first feelings and how first queer relationships are different than first straight relationships and our experiences and all that fun stuff. And then
Obvious next step.
the obvious next step is to jump into toxic relationships. And this will be relatable to everybody, whether you are straight or queer or whatever you identify as. This will hopefully be helpful. And then our last and final episode of this little mini series, we're still going to do the Hangout Hour, is going to be me and Carrie talking about how awesome we are and how much we love each other. What a smart remark. She's just sitting there nodding her head emphatically. No, but really, we're going to talk about healing and what it's like being in a safe relationship. So if this episode is kind of negative and a lot of toxic-y talk and not much healing talk, it will be, stay tuned. It will be coming, but we think it's going to take us a minute to unpack all of our toxic relationship trauma and what we learned from it. So we decided to break everything up and then have the healing parts in our final episode of this little mini series.
This part gets talked about more. I think
Yes.
we get a lot of people talking about like, oh, I was in a bad relationship and this is what happened. But maybe we have some different aspects from our perspectives that might help identify some of those less healthy relationships.
Yes. And also, of course, disclaimer, we are not therapists.
Nope.
We are not psychiatrists.
We actually need those.
We pay those people money.
Strictly sharing our experiences.
Yes, strictly sharing our experiences
and our weird
thoughts. And if we say things that isn't clinically correct or whatever, we're sorry. We're trying.
But don't take any of our advice and think that you're taking a professional's advice, because you're not.
We are both faking it till we make it. So don't. Hopefully this will be relatable, but
yeah.
Do as we say, not as we do. Maybe
Hopefully
don't even do as we say.
Relatable, because this is all
good point. Hopefully this isn't relatable at all. I hope that you had a life filled with rainbows and butterflies and no toxic relationship trauma whatsoever.
Oh,
so
can't wait for these comments. Let us know your stories.
Yes. Yeah. Comment all of the things. Tell us about your crazy exes. We love to hear it. How do you want to start this? Do you want me to start with my incredibly healthy and wonderful relationship before you, or do you want to start with your big?
I'm gonna keep making weird faces.
Okay. That being said, so I was in an extremely toxic, abusive relationship.
I just need everyone to be aware of the current body language. Speaking about the relationship, we've got arms crossed, legs tucked in and up under. We are at a slight lean, but it's very guarded.
Immediately in defensive guard mode, talking about my relationship trauma. This is real. This is all real. This is all very real. Anyway, that being said, I was in a very toxic relationship for 3.5 years right before I met Carrie, and we were engaged. And like I said, not a therapist, not a psychiatrist, I don't know. But my therapist at the time, after that relationship, I had to get a therapist. And the therapist that I went to did say that they probably were on some type of narcissistic spectrum, even though they can't officially diagnose them because they don't know them. The patterns of that relationship very much followed a narcissistic abuse, toxic pattern. There was no physical abuse in the relationship, but it was very emotional and psychological. And I kind of just want to talk about some things that happened to me in that relationship because when you're with somebody like that, I think they were a covert narcissist. They're very good at putting on a face to everyone else of them being a really great, genuine, kind, caring person. And then they are a completely different person when it's just the two of you. And the abuse is very hidden and it's very insidious, and you don't know it's happening.
And it makes you feel crazy.
It makes you feel insane. It is so gaslighty. It is so subtle. There's so many things that I did not realize until I got out of that relationship looking back. And I'm like, wow, that was so manipulative. One of the things that I always say to Carrie, that was such a subtle thing, but she would only tell me that I was pretty when I put makeup on. The only time I ever heard, "Oh, wow, you look really nice," or, "Oh, wow, you're pretty," is when I had makeup on. And I am a kind of person who very rarely wears makeup. I wear it on special occasions, and that's about it. Comments on clothing, times when you're feeling confident in yourself, and they just make some subtle, like, "Oh, I haven't seen that shirt. I think my mom has a shirt like that." Stuff like that, that just really kind of undermines you in very subtle ways and starts to make you question your core person and your
Mhm.
style choices and just your choices in general. I feel like I'm talking a lot. Do you want to say anything? Interject?
So I was just wondering, with the subtle comments, was there everything directed at your personality, saying that you were negative or anything, or was it more about outward appearance?
I'm a delight, so I can't think of anything immediately. I mean, they were a very superficial person and very looks oriented. I think it was more style and makeup and looks. And that was things, not that I'm necessarily insecure in those things, but when I was with that person, we can go, there's a whole thing, but like I didn't really have a style just from my upbringing and
Mhm.
blah 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 blah. And I was trying to find it. I didn't know how to do makeup. Like nobody had ever taught me. This person was worked at Sephora and Ulta, so they were like very into like the fashion, beauty, like that was their thing, and I was not that at all. So I think there was a level of, she knew I was insecure about that because of my background, and then also because that was such a specialty for her. I think it was a combo of, oh, I can make you feel insecure about this thing you're already insecure about, and I want you to be more like me because I'm hot and fashionable and a makeup guru. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I think they were more focused on things like that. And also my personality is perfect. And like I said, I'm a delight. So I will say it was very classic love bombing at the
Like at
beginning.
first, yeah.
Yeah, very much like swept you off your feet. We'll start it off the bat with something that I learned. When you go on a first date with somebody, pay attention to how much they're talking and how much they're listening, because as somebody, and at that point I was undiagnosed ADHD. Um, and when I'm nervous or whatever, especially the first date situation, I used to ramble and word vomit and just be like, I don't know what to do. And people like that use those first date opportunities to find out about you. They are literally figuring out what kind of person you are. They are figuring out how to be your ideal person to love bomb you. And they are also trying to figure out if you are a pushover, if you are fodder, if you are emotionally whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that this is like a conscious thing, but
They just naturally try to adapt to that
they
thing
just
that you
naturally
want.
try to adapt to that thing that you want. So if you are in a situation where you're on a first date and somebody might be asking you a lot of questions, you're like, wow, they're like really into me. They're really listening. They're really, want to know everything about me. That is not always a really good thing,
Yeah.
especially if you are asking them questions back and maybe they're not telling you as much as you're telling them. And again, this is all situational. This is not a one size fits all. It's just something to be aware of.
We actually there was a moment where Elise was questioning my sincerity because we had so much in common,
I forgot about
and
that.
they thought that I was trying to just, like, copy them for a while because we both love to do so many
Literally
of the same
everything.
things.
Literally everything. I was like, "This is weird."
So it is possible that you
It
guys like all the same things.
it is. But I will say the difference with you
Mhm.
versus them is, like I said, it was both sides. I was talking about the things, you were talking
Yeah,
about the things. Even the way that you talked about
yeah.
them, I knew that you actually
Had done
knew
the
that you
things.
had
You
done the
knew about the
things.
things, yeah.
Exactly. Whereas with
Yeah.
them, was me talking
Yeah, and then
about
being
the
like, "Oh,
things
I
that
love
I
that
liked.
too."
Yes, and
Yeah,
then being like, "Oh, yeah, I've played those games," or "I like that thing,"
yeah.
without them actually talking about said thing.
The other thing is when you do find something that you don't have in common, the way that they're responding in those situations of like, if we're doing something that you love and I am over here like, oh my God, this is so annoying. Like, I can't believe you like this. Or I'm letting down things that you love. Big red
Mm,
flags. Or just having a miserable time
mm.
going along with whatever you're doing. Both of
Okay,
those.
I'm gonna give 2 examples
Yeah.
of
Yeah, yeah.
both of those things. So, good example of our relationship, Carrie's really into Pokemon. I like Pokemon, but I am not a Pokemon fanatic, but she loves it. And so she's gone to like Pokemon tournaments and we've gone to the collecticons and those kind of things where it's very Pokemon oriented, card collecting oriented, whatever. Freaking blast, man. I have no idea what the heck is going on, but I am here for it.
Yeah.
I even started buying cards because I thought some of them are cute. And that's her thing. And I just like to be there and support her. And I'm like, yeah, you go. And also, she's gone and done those things without me, and that's fine
Mm,
too. But examples of what you were talking about is I wanted to see King Princess,
mm,
which is a genre of music that the person I was with would like. They weren't listening to them. Is King Princess they them?
maybe.
I'm not sure. I'm gonna call
Probably.
them because I'm not sure. They weren't listening to them at the time. I got tickets and like I was really excited to have her come with me because I was like, "Oh, you really like this music." Whatever. The whole time that we were there, like I wanted to get up closer. She didn't want to. Like she was just staying in the like outside of the concert, just not like outright not having a good time, but not
Yeah.
having a good
Enough
time.
enough to where you have to check in and you
Enough
can't be present.
so where you can't be present
Yeah.
in this show and you have to constantly be like,
Are
you
you
feel
okay? What do
uncomfortable.
you
Are you
need?
okay? Do you need anything? Do you need to go to the
Yeah.
bathroom? Do you need a drink? The
Yeah.
attention is on that person,
Yep.
right? And of course, after she went to the concert that she had such a not fun time at, she started listening to King Princess all the time. But like, I had a terrible taste in music. Anyway, whatever.
No bitterness there.
No bitterness whatsoever. And then the other example was so growing up, one of the really big things that I liked was to go to the Nutcracker, the ballet with my dad. That was a thing that we did. And as a kid, I was obsessed. My grandmother had the Nutcracker on VHS and I watched it over and over and over. Loved it. It was my big thing. So when me and this person, I'm just going to call her Toxic, when me and Toxic first met, she made a really big deal when she found that out about buying me tickets to the Nutcracker. We went together. This was in the first couple months that we were talking. She got valet service. It was this whole big thing. We went out to eat, whatever. And then ever since that first year, it was the biggest chore ever to get tickets to the Nutcracker, or she would make fun of it. She was like, I don't really like it. It's dumb. I don't get it. By the time the third year rolled around, it was around that time, and we were hanging out with her family, and she was dogging on the Nutcracker so hard to the point where her sister was like, I'll go with you, Elise. Like her sister felt bad
Oh my gosh.
because Toxic was being such an asshole.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's two examples there of what we're talking about.
I know I keep coming back to comparing it to our glorious relationship, but like having the ability to go to any kind of function and not have to monitor
Babysit.
your emotions. Like
Yeah.
we can go to a place and I know that you will be okay. I don't have to keep checking
Mhm.
in. If something feels off, of course I would go and check in.
Yeah.
But also if something was wrong, you would tell me and that you are capable of just having a good time if we go somewhere.
Yeah.
You're not just
Even just being able to leave you alone with
yeah,
my family or my friends and like go off and have my own conversations or do my own thing and not
yeah.
worry about you
Yeah, being weird.
being weird or miserable or whatever.
Right.
Um,
What is the difference? Because I got some brain spice. There are times when we'll go out and we're in a crowded space and I'm like, okay, I'm done. And I'll go and kind of pull away for a bit and have my little chill time. What is the difference for you from that perspective of like you knowing I'm okay and then also seeing that I might be weird in a crowd? What would be like a difference for you there?
I think there's two things. I think one is knowing that that's not how you usually are, and that's not the norm. So I'm like, oh, she's probably just feeling overwhelmed or whatever, anxious, because you're not typically like that.
Right.
And then number two, I think it's the ability for you to disengage and go off by yourself
Okay. Yeah.
and go decompress and do your thing and whatever. And I'm not worried about you. I mean,
Yeah.
of course, I'm going to check in on you.
And I'm not trying to like drag you away.
Yes,
Stick
and
with
you're
me,
not.
Ed.
Yes, you're not making it all about you.
Yeah.
You're not still staying there in that situation, dragging everybody down, and you're not trying to
Wouldn't.
take me. Yeah,
Yeah, like in the instance if I was like having a panic
If you
attack,
were,
I was like,
yes,
hey, can we
yes.
go for something like that? Would be totally different. But
Yes, but
yeah.
again, I think that would fall back to that's not normal.
Right.
That's not something that you're always doing.
Yeah.
And so then I'd be like, oh, something's wrong. We're going to go.
Right.
I think another thing, kind of jumping a little bit, that's not talked about that much with toxic relationships, especially ones that are subtle, is the subtle abuse. And an example that I have, I'm just going to talk about examples because I think it's the easiest way to get your point across, like the Renaissance Festival. We do that together.
Yeah.
I've always loved that. That's something that I've always done. And Toxic was into them too, which was cool. Toxic actually got me into like.
You're just calling her toxic.
Look, she even has her own theme song. I hope she's listening. That was one good thing about Toxic.
If you are, leave us a comment.
If you are, leave us a comment.
We're being the most right now.
The most. She got me to board games, like good board games, the intense ones, all the board games in the back there. Yeah. And that was cool. Anyway, she was also into Renfest, fantasy stuff. She actually genuinely was into that type of thing. All that to say, we went to the Renfest with her family. This was probably about 2 years into our relationship. She was ignoring me, like blatantly ignoring me. Not to the point that anybody else would know, but I knew. She would keep walking ahead of me. She would go off with her sister and do something and not even acknowledge me or ask if I want to come. Not, again, that I need to be asked or babysat, but like,
just cold shoulder.
Yes, very cold shoulder. It was almost like we'd been in a fight and we weren't. Very, very subtle, ignoring me, wouldn't hold my hand, didn't do anything with me, was barely talking to me, very cold, very just going off and doing her own thing and pretending I didn't exist. But not to the point that anybody would notice. At least I don't think they did. As the day goes on, I'm getting more upset and more dysregulated. And then at the end of the day, she comes back after going off on some adventure with a present for me. She went off and bought me these bookends and presented them to me in front of her entire family. And I was so dysregulated and annoyed and upset at the way she'd been treating me all day that I was like, basically, why the hell did you buy me these?
Yeah.
Like in front of her whole family. Yeah. Blew up over the fact that she bought me a present and I looked like I was insane.
Which is what she wanted.
Which is exactly what she wanted. Yeah. And I know that because like she did that multiple times. Like there was one time when we were all playing this board game and it was really fun. Me, her, and one or two of our brothers were on this team together and like we killed it. Like we were just in sync. It was so fun. And I brought it up and she was like, I don't remember that. What are you talking about? And I was like, what? This just happened like 2 weeks ago. What are you talking about? There was this other time, again, with her family. We were visiting her dad, and we were at like this art gallery. It was like cutesy little like walkable art store town place. There's a little local bookstore like across the way or whatever. I had said something to her. I was like, oh, like I really want to check out the local bookstore. And as soon as her family was out of earshot, she came up to me and like hissed in my ear, like, so go check out the bookstore then. Nobody cares. And I was like, well, fine, fuck you. And so I literally stormed out of the gallery and walked by myself to the bookstore. Yeah. And her family saw me leave and they're like, oh, please, where are you going? I was like, I'm just going to the bookstore. I look like a freaking crazy person. Like I just got mad and had a tantrum for no reason and stormed off to this bookstore. It is just this really subtle, undermining abuse, even just digs at the music that I listen to or the games that I would play. When we first started our relationship, we played Mario Kart together a lot. She like to game. And then as toxic, narcissistic abuse patterns evolved, she was pulling away. We were doing less and less stuff together. There was no cuddling. It was just like this big toxic whatever. The time that I can think of where I thought like, oh no, I'm in trouble. We lived in Nashville and it had snowed. Actually, snowed. Nashville usually just gets like a lot of ice. It gets some snow, but not a lot. And I was so excited that it had snowed. I was getting all ready. I was like, let's go play in the snow. Like, let's go build a snowman. And she was just so deadpan and just like, okay. I remember looking at her and being like, oh my God, we're engaged. Not this is going to be the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I remember vividly having that
Yeah.
thought.
Yeah.
But like again, we talked about in
Just
the
never
first
being able to
relationship.
have a good time.
Yeah, well, or in the first episode, sorry, when you have that gay scarcity mindset
Yeah.
of
There's no one else.
there's no one
Yeah.
else, and then also you add the layer of being engaged, and it's like, oh, you have a failing if you have broken engagement.
Yeah.
Something that I feel people don't talk about enough with toxic relationships is when you are in a toxic, emotionally abusive relationship, you can't be a good partner.
Yeah.
Which just compounds your feeling like everything's
Self-blame.
your
Yeah.
fault and self-blame because you are in survival mode.
Yeah.
You are in a highly stressful,
Triggered state.
Your
Yeah.
cortisol levels are off the charts. I gained so much weight. I had acne problems. What I looked like when I started that relationship and when I ended that relationship, completely different. You're in a survival mode, and also you're reacting to their abuse.
Yeah.
The whole like me blowing up about the
Right.
present thing.
Right.
If you are in a toxic relationship, or if you were in a toxic relationship and got out and was like, wow, well, I wasn't the best partner either, bruh,
Mm-hmm.
it's because you were in survival mode.
Yeah.
Like once you get into a healthy, safe relationship, that's when you will see if you are a good partner or not, because you are actually given the space to do so.
Yeah.
And there has been such a difference in the way that I am able to treat Carrie versus the way that I was able to treat toxic, and nothing changed.
You only yell at me like every other time that you are present now.
Every other time.
No, but seriously, even like not having that feeling of there being a score or that you're trying to earn their affection. I'm thinking of just the simple thing of us filling up each other's waters, and like how in some of my toxic relationships, I was doing nice things for the person to try to earn that
Yes.
affection and
Yep,
to
yep,
try
yep,
to
yep.
earn that attention because it's being withheld from me. They're not paying any attention to me at all. They're being cold. They're ignoring you or whatever. Growing up in a religious aspect of like, oh, well, I just need to do more. It's me. It's all my fault. So let me just give more. Let me do more things for you and let me be even better. And then eventually you'll reciprocate because that's how
Yup.
this works. I feel like that is something that takes a lot of time to undo in your brain when that's the environment you grew up in of like, also you should have unconditional love for the person that you love. So they're allowed to have their bad days, even though it's like every day.
Yeah. Okay, real talk. If you're still here, you clearly love us. So go ahead and make it official. Hit that subscribe button and give us those coveted 5 stars. It's free, it's easy, and honestly, it feeds our validation issues. Now, let's get back to the good stuff. You want to talk about how religion sets you up
Oh yeah.
for toxic relationships?
Let's talk about it.
Let's
Let me adjust
talk
my mic.
about that.
Let's go. First
First of all,
let's start with people who identify as women on the whole are already taught to be meek and subjective. Subjective? Yes, subjective.
yeah,
Yeah. Why does that sound weird?
that does sound weird. I'm thinking of subjugated, but that's like doing the thing.
We'll come back to it.
Submissive? You can say submissive.
Submissive. There we go. I think that's where I was trying to go. Not subjective. Submissive. I'm an English teacher. Shh. Yeah, submissive and meek and mild and going along with whatever. If you find yourself in a relationship with super fun, toxic patterns, everything's just escalate. It's going to escalate. You're going to start with that love bombing and everything's going to feel great. And then they're just going to slowly pull back and pull back and pull back to where you are getting nothing. You are only giving. And
well, and let's talk about how that's.
Yeah.
We'll get to the religion thing. I promise.
Yeah.
Let's
get
talk
there.
about how that's addictive,
Yeah.
though. There's been studies done that that is as potent as a drug.
Yeah.
That abuse cycle of slowly, slowly withdrawing
Mhm.
and then throwing you a bone, like a big gesture, right? And then
Even a
those
big gesture, like a small gesture when they've pulled back so
well,
much.
okay, it starts off
Yeah.
large,
Yeah.
and then it gets fewer and further between,
Mhm.
and smaller and smaller and smaller until you finally get to the point where them just filling up your water bottle for you is the
Holy cow, you're the
nicest
best.
thing that you could ever do. When a year and a half ago they were, I don't know, doing so much more.
Right.
It's like a drug, that dopamine hit of being starved for so long for
Mhm.
attention,
Mhm.
and then getting that little doop
Yeah.
of whatever the heck, the bare minimum.
Yep.
It's actual, like,
Like an addiction.
addiction and an actual conditioning.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to get out of that when you're in it.
Because you expect it to come back. You've had that
Yes.
love bombing and you're still looking for that.
Yep.
And then a lot of times blaming yourself for the reason that it's no longer there.
Because, like I said, you yourself aren't able to be a good partner
Yeah.
in that situation. So you're like, I know I'm capable of being a good partner.
Yeah.
Why do I keep failing on my end?
I think in my case I kept just trying harder, and I totally understand reactive abuse, and that definitely happens too, but I also think there's also the other side of just being like, "No, I'm just gonna keep giving and giving and giving, and then eventually it'll come back."
Yeah.
And, like, just saying that out loud makes no sense. Like, the more I give, they're gonna come back to the way things were. But then it's also coupled with that subtle digs of like, "Oh," for me, it was, "Oh, you're too much. Your energy, you're everything, you need too much, you're too needy, you're too" all of these things. And so then again, I'm internalizing,
But
like,
then
I'm
also, why are you being so needy,
yeah, because you
Carrie?
haven't looked at me in, like, a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why
Yeah.
are you?
So, yeah.
That's another thing too, is that they are causing
Mhm.
the
The, like,
quote unquote
neediness.
negative trait
Yeah.
that they are dogging you for,
Yeah.
if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
I mean, we both worked from home, and there would be whole days when I wouldn't see my partner. Eventually, when they would show up, I'd be like, "Oh, like,
Oh,
where were
you
you?"
exist.
And they'd be like, "Oh, you have to know everything. You're always, like, trying to know where I am." And I'm like, "I just genuinely didn't know where you've been for the last, like, 6 hours, but okay." But yeah, I got so bad to, like, I would have anxiety when they would, honest to God, leave the room because I would be like, "I don't know when they're gonna be back. I don't know. Are they leaving the house? Are they leaving to go do something else?" Sometimes I'd be like, "Well, why didn't you come with me?" Or why didn't you follow me into the other room?" And then the other times would be like, "Why are you following me? What are you doing?" And so I'm like, "I don't know. I don't know."
Yep.
Ah,
Yeah.
good
And yeah,
times.
they make you feel crazy
Yeah,
with
I
the
feel
like,
crazy.
oh, well, why don't you do this thing? And then you do it. And then they're like, well, why did you do that? And you're like,
Yeah.
because you told me to. What?
Oh,
Yeah.
man. But coming back to religion, though,
Yes.
being in growing up in the religious atmosphere creates just fodder for people who do want to only take. They don't want to have any type of balance in a relationship. They just want to see how much you will give them. And that comes back to our super fun religious upbringing because we're taught to just give and give and
Give
give
and give and give
and
and give
give
and give and give.
and not expect anything in return.
And also, let's talk about the aspect of just forgiveness without change.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, because as long as you ask for forgiveness,
Yep. 70 times 7.
70 times 7.
You
Yeah.
can do the same
You
shit
could do the
over and
same thing
over.
over and over and over and over again. And as
Yep.
long as that person comes to you and asks for forgiveness, you have to forgive them and
Yeah.
it's okay.
I guess we're
Okay.
talking about from the mindset of like, you can ask forgiveness for your sins over and over, but that also translates to the way you interact with people.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so if you're not familiar, that's the
Yes.
connection.
There is a Bible verse. It says something about either God forgives you or forgiving your brethren 70
Yeah,
times,
no,
seven
they
times.
literally
Yeah.
ask you, is like, how many times should I forgive someone?
Yeah.
Like
And he says 70
7 or
times. Yeah. And he
oh
says
my
70
God, the
times
kids would be
7.
like 6, 7.
6, 7. 6, 7 times.
Oh no. I teach high school.
Um,
But
so
yeah,
it's a very real thing. And when you
and that's the mindset.
constantly give forgiveness without also expecting change,
Mhm.
it can get really dangerous.
Yeah, and the whole turn the other cheek, like,
Yep. Yep.
if
Which is
someone
taken out of context,
yes,
but
but
also,
also
yes, the
so
way that
preached.
is used and preached, the turning the other cheek. When you were talking about love bombing, that even made me think about the fact that the whole concept of heaven. Like
Mhm,
the
mhm.
suffering on earth is fine
Yeah,
because eventually we'll have heaven.
yeah,
And that's kind of what love bombing is, because when you first meet this person, they turn into like your idealized fantasy person from that moment on as they devalue and pull away. And it's the same mindset
you're
of,
living on
well,
that hope.
I'm living on that hope that we can get back to quote unquote heaven
Yeah,
someday. And then if I have to suffer temporarily now, it's okay because we had that once. So eventually we can go back
yeah.
to heaven. And I also think the messaging of being worthless that
Mhm.
comes up so often in
Yeah.
evangelicism and Baptist.
Deserving
Yeah.
and yeah.
That's what I can speak to. But just being worthless, being undeserving, being told not to trust yourself, not to trust your gut. What's actually happening isn't happening.
Heart is deceitful.
The heart is deceitful. You
And
are
then being
just,
in those situations and thinking, "Oh, I deserve this," or "This is I'm not gonna find anything better." Your bar is very askewed.
and let's talk about the concept of unconditional love,
Yeah.
right?
Ugh.
Oh, this one gets me very going. We talk about this. Woo, we talk
Pull
about this so
pulls out the
much.
soapbox. Unconditional love is a tool used by abusers to keep
100%.
people from leaving.
100%. Because you have to have unconditional love.
Yep.
They don't have to,
Yep.
but you have to have unconditional love. And if you don't, then you never really love them
And it's such a bullshit thing to think about. Why would you love someone
unconditionally.
unconditionally if we started treating me like shit tomorrow? First, we would check in and be like, "Hey,
Be like,
what's
hey,
going
what's
on?"
up?
Then if that pattern continued, I'm not gonna stay.
As you shouldn't.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, 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 no.
The whole concept of unconditional love is
It's
so dangerous.
so dangerous.
And I totally agree that it is a concept used by
It
abusers.
keeps people in abusive situations. I'm not saying that you should have to earn your love either, because that feels like the alternative there. It's not an
Yeah.
either or, like, oh, it's unconditional love because you don't have to earn it. Both of those, ironically, come from religion, of like
Yeah.
it works being what's like showing your love, um, and trying to prove your salvation or whatever through your works. But neither of those should be present in a relationship of
Yeah.
that, like, I'm gonna have to prove to you I love you through these things. It's just evident. It should just be there.
The term unconditional love gets confused with effortless love. I think people think that unconditional love and effortless love are the same thing, and that is not the case.
Yeah,
Love should be effortless in that I'm doing things for you because I want to. I'm
yeah,
not trying to earn your love. I'm doing things because I want to make you happy.
yeah,
But also, you need to be doing that for me
yeah,
too. I think people think effortless love is unconditional love, that you have to love them through everything. But
mhm,
that's not the case.
yeah,
Effortless love can end when, like you said, the relationship turns abusive or toxic or whatever. Unconditional love is what gives way for the abuse.
yeah,
And in my opinion, if your relationship gets to the point where the love isn't effortless anymore, that's when you should evaluate,
yeah,
like and reevaluate like what's going on. Why is this no longer effortless?
yeah,
Whereas unconditional love is you have to love that person
yeah.
anyway. And I think that's where things get dangerous.
And I'm anxious attachment. So in theory, you would think I would be all for unconditional love. 'Cause that means no matter what kind of mess I am, like you're still gonna love me. But that's not the case. Like,
Yeah, no, yeah.
yeah. Like if I am no longer being a good partner and I'm making your life difficult instead of this being an enjoyable thing, I don't think that we should be together. And
And that's not to say as soon as stuff gets hard, you
yes.
dip out. Like
Yeah.
that is not at all what we're saying.
Yeah. Or in hard
Um,
times that you just
yeah, or in
yeah.
hard times that you're like, oh, this isn't working. Bye.
We've been in a relationship long enough now to have had bouts of depression and
Yeah, oh yeah.
like big
I'm depressed
losses
right
and
now.
look at me, I'm
Look at me go.
disassociated.
I'm disassociated. I haven't been in my body in 2 years.
Even like me breaking my leg was a hard time.
Oh God.
I don't know. Like it's an easy love.
Yeah. How how much of your relationship is difficult versus effortless. When I hear people, it's so hard and marriage is so much work, I'm like, can't relate. Is it though? Like, yeah, there's hard times, but like, that's what, 15%?
Yeah.
Like, maybe?
Yeah. I feel like it's a high estimate. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's the highest limit too. I mean, maybe like life stuff,
Yeah.
sure, but us stuff, it's easy, man.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean everything's perfect,
Right.
but we've been together, what, 4 years now? And this is so easy.
Yeah.
You're
I feel
easy.
like I'm easy. I feel like we'll get some pushback on the unconditional love thing, and please do let us know
Yeah.
why you support unconditional love, but it's not for us. It's
Nope.
not for me.
Mm-mm.
Being in toxic relationships and seeing growing up in abusive relationships, I think it is a tool for the abusers, man. Give it some thought.
Yeah.
Give it some thought.
Thinking about the difference between effortless love
Yeah.
versus unconditional love.
But
I think they're similar, but there's a big difference.
I've seen so many times people being like, "Oh, but I love them," when they're literally being physically abused. "Oh, but I love them and I gotta stay." No, no, no.
And then you ask them why, and
Yeah.
they never really have an answer.
Yeah. Yeah. In your relationship, was there ever like a big showy apology thing, or was that not a thing?
I don't think in any of our fights or disagreements or arguments that there was ever resolution.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I apologized a lot. I don't even really know why. I was just trying to fix things, but I think I was more apologizing for myself than for
You
things I was doing.
apologizing? No.
But mine was also less covert. Mine
Yeah, she
was more
was.
obvious.
I saw some old text that Carrie had saved from back then. I was like, oh my gosh.
Good times, good. I was still in a depression when we broke up.
I mean, that was your first real queer relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that. For me, slightly different than you. I mean, you did live together, but your relationship was a little bit shorter. When we broke up, there was a lot of grief there, but it wasn't really for the person. It was more, I finally thought I had a plan, a
Yeah.
trajectory. I was supposedly getting married. We had gotten a house together. Like, my life
the
was,
ties of
yeah, my life was like settled. And then, like, suddenly I was literally starting over at 30. I genuinely moved back in with my dad for almost a year. So there was a lot of grief there for losing that stability. I didn't really grieve for the person. The day we broke up, I walked out of the house for the last time and I went to go meet my best friend, not the bestie that I dated, another one. She had only known me in that relationship. She had met me maybe a couple months before I met Toxic. And literally an hour after I broke up that relationship and went to meet her at the bar, she was like, "You're a completely different person." And I mean this in the best way. She was like, "Who are you?" My personality was already back. When I officially like walked out of that house, all I felt was mind numbing relief.
Yeah.
Just absolute relief.
Well, and you become such a shell of yourself.
Yes.
And you forget what you are even like because you've
Yeah.
beaten down.
I did. I really did. I had to go through a phase of rediscovering myself, even from the music that I like to listen to, because I couldn't listen to it when I was with her because she didn't like it. I like metal and heavy rock, and she didn't. She was more into like pop stuff. You have to like essentially date yourself and
Get back to yourself.
Get back to yourself.
Also, shout out to friends who do call that out, because that was the whole reason I got out of my relationship. Is my friends literally had an intervention and sat me down and were like, "Hey, you don't really seem like yourself when you're with this person, and we can tell a difference when you're with them versus when you're not." And they like just hashed it out with me, and I was like, "You know what? Yeah, you're right." And that was the beginning of the end of that relationship. So,
And speaking on that, because I did not have that experience, that's why people like this isolate you in a relationship. They start to plant seeds of dividing you from your family, your friends, those people that are close to you. My time in Nashville was terrible. I had literally two friends, the one that I met at the bar, and then the bestie that I had dated. We moved to Nashville together when we were dating. And the one friend that I met at the bar didn't know me pre that relationship. And Toxic had driven a huge wedge between me and the bestie that I had moved to Nashville with. When you're that isolated,
you don't have those people.
you don't have that. You don't have a wake up call. All my other friends, they totally would have told it to me, but they all lived in out of state, you know? Looking back, Toxic even was trying to throw drive a wedge between me and the friend that I met at the bar. It didn't work because that was my literal one friend.
Yeah.
But she was trying.
And then where do you even have to go? Like, at that point too, if you can isolate them enough,
Mhm.
you don't even have anyone to go to if you have a fight or
That
if you
oh my god,
yeah.
yeah. When we were starting that breakup, it was the week before Christmas, and I think it was the day before Christmas that we officially broke up. Kid you not. That's also a very narc adjacent thing to do. Um, and I went and stayed at that friend's house for that week. I had nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
But if you don't even have that,
Yeah.
what do you do?
What do you do?
You're stuck. And I was so lucky to be in a position that when we finally did break up, I called my dad and I was like, I literally have nowhere to go. Luckily, I had him and I was able to get out of the state and move immediately. I packed up all of my crap and I moved out of state 12 hours away. If I hadn't been able to do that, I don't know. I don't know where I would be or what I'd be doing.
Oh, I'd forgotten about this. I didn't even have a car at the time.
Oh, really?
And my mom and my stepdad, I think, drove up to get me, and that's how traumatized I was. I don't even remember who was in the car, but I remember
feel
being
that.
sobbing in the back seat as they picked me up. And yeah, I didn't even have all my stuff. I just left.
Did you ever get any of your stuff back or?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
went back with a friend. I can't remember who the friend was now, man. I have blocked out
I get
so
it.
much, but I went back. I think I had the door code, and I knew nobody was going to be there, so I just got my stuff and left.
Yep.
There's so much that I legitimately have just blocked out. It's just buried. We just bury it back there.
I will say though, and this is my Scorpio energy. It takes a while for me to get to like the point, but once I hit the point, there is no return. You are dead to me. I am
Mm-hmm.
done. As soon as the things officially ended and I had thrown all my crap and drove down to my new state residence, Toxic texted me and just was like, "Did you make it okay?" And I sent her one thumbs up and never talked to her again. I
Yeah.
blocked her on everything. I mean, I blocked her on Venmo, on Spotify, everything I could possibly think of, I blocked her on. And that's what you have to do, man.
Yeah.
Like, you have got to just stonewall those people. You have to. Just,
I had such a hard time. I
Yeah.
don't know. I mean, I do know it's from past trauma and always feeling like I was trying to earn people's affection and stuff, but
Mhm.
I have a really hard time just cutting people off because my brain is afraid that in some scenario I'm going to be the one person who would answer their like call in the middle of the like I don't know
Mhm.
suicidal night, which is so absurd. That's so absurd. I don't need that pressure. I don't want that pressure. But something in my weird brain is like, oh, but what if they need something?
Mhm.
I had not cut this person out for a long time, and it was
You were
when
still,
we started
yeah,
dating.
yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. You were still talking to,
Yeah.
not talking to them, but you
Yeah,
were
but,
still
like,
like on
they
social
were
media
yeah,
and whatever
commenting on
and
things.
commenting on things. And I told you, and this was not a jealousy thing
No, even a
whatsoever.
little.
Not even a little bit, but I was like, "Look, I'm not coming out of this from a place of jealousy, but
Mhm.
I am just letting you know that," especially after showing me the story
Yeah.
and show me the text. I was like, "I was in the same situation, and I'm telling
Yeah.
you, you just have to get rid of them, stonewall them."
Well, and even after the relationship, it was still never anything positive. Like,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
never anything
There was nothing. It was nothing good.
yeah,
I remember that. I'm like, I'm not gonna tell you what to do. You can do what you
yeah.
want,
Now I'm good.
but
Now I'm good at it. I can cut people out like nothing now.
yeah, yeah.
Got there.
But yeah. Just get rid of them, man,
Yeah.
and never look back. I blocked them on LinkedIn, like literally everything.
You start to and we'll get to this a little bit more when we talk about the healing one too.
Mhm.
It really rewired my brain to just constantly be on eggshells and just be like,
Yes.
what am I doing that's gonna set them off today? Or
Mhm.
what am I doing wrong? And just to have total loss of confidence in myself and my ability to make decisions. That was a fun one we'll talk about.
Yeah, we'll touch on that in the healing episode.
Yeah, and just constantly feeling like you're on eggshells and like nothing you
Yeah.
can do is right.
When you grow up in a relationship where you are on eggshells all through your childhood and growing up, it feels like home. But when you get into that in your adult years in a relationship, you're like, oh, this is normal.
It feels safe. That's
Yeah.
what your body's like, "Oh, this is love. This feels like home.
Yeah.
I am so anxious and constantly worried if I'm safe.
This is
Yeah,
fine.
my anxiety is through the roof, but we're
Nope.
great."
Even the eggshell thing, I think that you can even tie that back to religion too, because that whole feeling of
I'm gonna do something
yeah,
to,
like
sever the connection.
sever the connection with
Yeah.
God, or I'm gonna sin, constantly being on edge of I'm displeasing God or whatever.
Or every bad thing that happens is because you've done something
Yeah.
wrong. I've literally heard people
Mm-hmm.
saying that, like, "Oh, well, this bad thing is happening to them because they're not
Because you
in
sinned.
the line. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
not in the line of whatever."
I literally had one of my pastor's kids randomly message me on Facebook. I wasn't even out then, I don't think, but I very clearly wasn't going to church. I was doing my own thing. And they randomly messaged me on Facebook and told me that if I didn't get right with God, he was going to smite me, like basically that he would kill me. And that's very much the mentality that they have.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, it's been 14 years.
Still waiting on the smite.
Maybe it'll happen eventually. I don't know. Another thing I just want to say real quick. After you leave one of those relationships like that, you're going to feel like shit for a long time. And your self-worth is going to be in the gutter.
Yeah.
And I think that's important to talk about too. You need to forgive yourself for all of that and how you're feeling, and allow yourself to feel that way, because that's good. And then eventually you're going to build all that back up again.
Yeah. But take that time.
But take that time. Like, I remember after we broke up, I wanted to get a new cologne. This is a great example. So I went to Sephora and I genuinely had an anxiety attack in Sephora, smelling all of the smells and trying to figure out what scent I wanted. My inner critic was so loud at that point because it was her. Everything that I was picking, it was wrong. I was like, oh, is this scent outdated? Is this stupid? Can I wear this? I got so in my head and was so overwhelmed. Like, finally picked something out, went and bought it. And this was like for probably like 45 minutes to an hour of me being in the fragrance aisle, trying not to spiral. Bought the scent, went and sat in my car for another 30 minutes, having a full-blown panic attack at this point over this fragrance because I was so beaten down. I could not even make that simple of a decision for myself without like questioning if it was okay.
Yeah.
Because like that is how much they get you like questioning your judgment and
Feeling crazy.
yeah, feeling crazy. So just give yourself grace. That's all I'm saying. It's okay. You're going to be okay. You're going to get through it.
Yeah. I'll talk more about mine on the healing because I feel like it ties in better, but
yeah, but I think that's all the toxic relationship trauma dumping I'm going to do, and then we got to talk about healing after.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. High five. All right.
Leave us comments about your fun toxic things.
I mean, that's not how I'd put it. But
Bye.
bye. Thank you for listening to Holy Homo Healing Hour. If this show speaks to you, please subscribe and share it with someone who might need to hear it too. Until next time, be kind to yourself. And remember, honey, we all deserve to be loved.